partnership panel. Man, I wrote that title. I should have known it would be hard to say. Part of the 2021 Ohio Nutrition Incentive Network annual convening. We're going to be hearing from 3 OHNIN members and their partners from county agencies. Panel time will be approximately 30 minutes, leaving about 15 minutes for questions. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat as we go along. OHNIN members will be monitoring and answering questions as possible, possibly saving some questions to be answered live during the Q&A. Like the other sections, we're going to begin today with our newly revised network vision and mission. Vision and mission, man. Our vision is all Ohioans have equitable access to healthy, locally grown foods within their communities and the resources to procure them. Diet-related health diseases and disparities are no longer a public health crisis. Ohio agriculture is an economically viable and ecologically regenerative industry. It is an integral component of the Ohio food system. Its products are widely available. Ohio farmers and food workers are valued, respected, and appropriately compensated for their contribution to the health and well-being of their communities. Our mission is to increase nutrition security while strengthening Ohio's local food system. We are also beginning each session with a land acknowledgement, which we have sourced from the Ohio State University Office of Diversity and Inclusion. A land acknowledgement recognizes and respects the relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their ancestral and contemporary territories. We acknowledge that the state of Ohio occupies the ancestral and contemporary territory of the Shawnee, Potawatomi, Delaware, Miami, Peoria, Seneca, Wyandot, Ojibwe, and Cherokee peoples. These lands were ceded in the 1795 Treaty of Greenville and the forced removal of tribes through the Indian Removal Act of 1830. If you would share your pronouns in your displayed new Zoom name or in the chat box, that would be wonderful. So we are going to get straight to the panel. I'm going to turn it over to Jenna Eastman from Countryside and Terri Burns from Summit County Jobs and Family Services.
Okay, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. So I'm Jenna. I am the Community Food Access Manager with Countryside. And I'm just really glad to have everybody here today and tell you about some of the successes we've had with our partnership with Summit County Department of Job and Family Services. So just a little bit of background on this partnership. This was before my time at Countryside, but in 2018, there were conversations between JFS and us about our SNAP and Produce Perks programming. For anyone who might not know or wasn't in earlier sessions, we do accept SNAP benefits at all of our farmers markets, and Produce Perks allows for a $25 match for the purchase of fresh fruits and veggies on SNAP purchases. So Terri, who was presenting with me today at the time, had offered that we would be able to send out mailers through JFS for SNAP clients who would be eligible for this program to promote the public market that was in downtown Akron at that time. And that initial mailer resulted in a significant uptick in SNAP users at that public market. And there was a 98% increase in EBT usage during the mailer as opposed to the average usage in the 5 weeks leading up to it. So with that initial trial being so successful, the relationship has continued, and we've used mailers and flyers, robocalls and texts. And most recently, we did do a robocall and text campaign that let people know about a TANF distribution event that Produce Perks was doing at our market on May 8th last week. And that was also super successful. We had dozens of calls coming in with people with questions about how they could benefit and use the program. Some of them didn't actually qualify for TANF, but because we reached them through JFS, many of them did have SNAP, so I was able to direct them to a program that worked for them. And so we were able to help a lot of people that way. Aaron was kind enough to share some of the final numbers. Overall at that market last week, we gave out 50 packets for TANF vouchers and nearly 150 more from our website application, which people were directed to through that JFS text. Overall, that was over $8,000 in fruit and veggie vouchers that came out of this campaign. And because those who didn't qualify for TANF did have SNAP on the most part. We also saw a significant increase last week in the SNAP and the produce perks that was distributed at the market. So that was 37% more SNAP and 51% more produce perks distributed on May 8th as opposed to the week before, which the week before was actually our opening day for the outdoor season and was really well attended. So to still have that much increase was really impressive. So overall, we definitely want to continue with this work, and I'm working on more ways for us to track. I was going to share real quick if I can. So can everybody see this now? Okay, so this will be future mailers that'll go out, and we're including a line here asking people to bring back or mention, we'll accept either their flyers to let us know if they found our market through these mailers. And I'm also kind of tracking as we get calls and emails in response to these campaigns, any barriers that people mention, so that we can inform some future programming and food access with that. But overall, our findings are that, if people are aware that they're interested in these programs, and it gives us a really inspirational view going forward. So I'll let Terri talk about her side of things.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Terri Burns, and I work for the Summit County Executive, Eileen Shapiro. I'm with the Department of Job and Family Services, and I'm sure, as most of you know, the JFS in each of the counties is responsible for doing eligibility for SNAP, along with Medicaid and TANF. So I'm going to share my screen and just show you a little bit here about Summit County. Is that coming across okay? Okay. So Summit County is the 4th largest county in the state, and we're what is considered at the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services as a metro county. And so we have, here's our stats for calendar year 2020 and so far in 21. So we have currently just over 80,000 residents who receive SNAP, and that was in April, and in April they expended almost $19 million on SNAP. For the calendar year 20, there was a total of $164 million expended using their SNAP card. Next. And as part of our partnership, we've worked together to create these flyers with Countryside. We did a mailing a couple years ago to all of our SNAP recipients to get the word out on the various farmers markets. The flyer that Jenna just showed you, we're putting in outgoing mail to our clients, and we've got it here on our website. And if clients come out here and click on it, it will take them right over to the Countryside website and tell them about the program there. So we try to do everything we can on each other's websites to point to each other to really get the word out to our clients, because they can double their SNAP benefits up to $25 every time they visit a farmer's market. The other thing we had in the past was a National Council on Aging grant, and we were able to use some of those dollars to help with the mailings, and the purpose of that was to draw awareness to seniors on SNAP benefits and what they call to try to get them to break the stigma of SNAP and to encourage them to take advantage of it and educate them that it's not a charity, it's not embarrassing to be on SNAP, and it actually helps the economy. So we were able to use some of those grant dollars to help with getting the word out on farmers markets to the seniors as well. And then this is a brand new thing that I had our GIS department do here in Summit County. We sent them the data for all of our April SNAP recipients and had them make a heat map of it. And when you're looking at this map, the lightest pink color is where the most populous SNAP recipients are. And then the light pink is the next most populous. And then this kind of tannish mauve color is the next. And as you get to dark green, that's where the fewest SNAP recipients are. And I asked them to add the farmers markets to this. So each of these pink dots is one of our farmers markets. So we can look and see, you know, are they in the right places? Should we have, if we want to have some pop-up markets, maybe we want to put those in a zip code or someplace where there isn't a farmer's market already close by. So I haven't even sent this over to Countryside yet, but we'll be able to use this to help better strategize future markets. And that's all I have. Thank you. I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Jenna and Terri. Next up, we have Amanda Osborne from Ohio State Extension in Cuyahoga County, and Susan Conover from WIC in Cuyahoga County as well. Take it away, Amanda.
Thanks, Erin. I'll go ahead and also share my screen. I only have like 2 slides and they're mostly pictures, but I think they'll help illustrate some of the things that Susan and I are going to talk about. So I'm Amanda Osborne. I'm with Ohio State University Extension in Cuyahoga County, and my colleague today here with me is Susan Conover. She is the manager of WIC operations for the Women, Infants, and Children program housed at Metro Health here in Cuyahoga County. So I'll start by kind of describing how our partnership works. The partnership between OSU Extension and WIC goes actually back a decade. And so we started partnering together in around 2010 when the Produce Perks SNAP Incentive Program was piloted in Cleveland. So we have a long-standing relationship with them, and that helped us to kind of begin to collaborate and partner on a WIC incentive. So we started partnering on a WIC incentive in 2019. And so we had that existing relationship with WIC. And WIC had been utilizing a texting service to remind clients about WIC FMNP distribution dates. And the texting service was wildly successful, where hundreds of individuals would show up at an event for FMNP distribution. And so it kind of caught our eye. And so we wanted to sort of see how we could leverage that resource to reach more families. So just to give you an idea of kind of how the WIC Perks program works, it is an additional incentive for families attending specific WIC FMNP distribution dates. So they get an additional $20 in fruit and vegetable coupons, and they get 2 culinary tools of their choice after they engage with OSU in a small nutrition education activity. So again, families come to the market, they're reminded about the WIC FMNP date through the texting service, they go through the WIC line, they get their WIC coupons, WIC then directs them to OSU's tent where they can engage for those additional incentives. And so again, WIC Perks is really building on the success of the existing WIC FMNP program in Cuyahoga County and really kind of targeting that texting service again. So we're collaborating between our 2 offices to leverage our existing resources to better serve WIC families. Again, it's a very natural partnership. We've been working together for quite some time, and the WIC office was very excited to work with us. So when we went to Susan in 2018 and said, hey, we want to do this WIC incentive, what do you think? Her office was extremely receptive, and all of the staff really bought into the program early on. I just want to mention that WIC has been a critical partner in this program. WIC staff in particular, they do all of the promotion for the program to their clients. So WIC staff will promote the program to clients during their clinic visits and through their schedule, their printed schedule. So OSU has absolutely no involvement in the promotion of this program. It's specifically WIC. And the turnout for this program has been absolutely amazing. And that's because the WIC staff have, again, really bought into the program and have been just a critical element. So OSU's portion of the program is more to administer the incentive and to manage it, where again, WIC is bringing people to the market and doing that promotional effort. So the partnership has been pretty amazing. And when we started this program, we really wanted to kind of look at incentives beyond SNAP, right? So how do we provide incentives to families who fall over the 130% of the federal poverty line? And so with that existing relationship with WIC, we kind of decided to go from there. So that's kind of the program in a nutshell. I know we don't have much time, and that kind of explains how the partnership was formed. Again, it was existing. We brought together some successful resources and then developed a WIC incentive that's now been offered since 2019. So Susan, is there anything I missed that you wanted to kind of share about how that partnership works?
No, I would ditto everything you said. Cuyahoga County WIC was one of the pioneers for the farmer market nutrition program offered by USDA to WIC programs throughout the United States since 1992. So we've been doing it for a long time. Amanda and Courtney approached us. They had a lot of information from other locations that were doing similar programs, and we thought it was a wonderful win-win opportunity for us. They were very happy about bringing it to us. We brought it to a staff in service. That's where we got that staff buy-in that Amanda has talked about. They did a food demo at a staff in service so staff could experience what participants would be having happen at the market and talked about it. And yes, staff has done the promotion of it. We've adjusted a few materials. We've invested no money. We work together at the markets. Both staffs work together, just referring back and forth to the programs. We found out early on that participants called this Green Day. I first thought they were talking about a recycling program when they came up to me and said, "Is this a Green Day?" And I was like, "What do you mean by Green Day?" And then they explained a little bit further that our staff had told them about the incentive. So we're very excited to be a part of it, and we wouldn't change anything. Just continue to look at that because, as Amanda stated many times, we get over 100 participants on the days that we promote this special program. Thank you.
Awesome. And then just in terms of like from my perspective, the value of the program, obviously, I think the greatest value has been us learning how to leverage these resources together. Again, Susan said, really no cost. It's very cheap to run this program. You can run this program each season on $10,000 or less. It really just depends on how expansive you want to be. Again, we could not offer this program without WIC's support. And then I think in terms of the value for me, WIC Perks is undoubtedly the most successful marketing tool for the Produce Perks program that we've ever used. In our county, we've invested in billboards, bus ads, flyers, direct mailers, you name it. This is the only program that has shown to be truly successful in connecting families to the Produce Perks program. And we can see that in our data. So the return on investment for us is very clear. And so from the standpoint of data, what some of the outcomes are is that, WIC Perks does increase WIC FMNP turnout. So you can see in the chart on the left for our 2019 pilot year that distribution was higher at sites in 2019 than it was in 2020 if they offered WIC Perks. And then the chart on the right shows the increases in SNAP sales that occur on WIC Perks days, because as families come through the line, we make sure to remind them of the Produce Perks program and how they can use their direction card to receive doubling dollars. So both of those are there. And then obviously an obvious outcome is, connecting families to the Produce Perks program, but also increasing the utilization of that program. And so Susan, do you have any thoughts on, kind of the value of the program from your perspective?
I would agree with everything you said. And also it really does go right along with the mission of why FMNP was established. And that is to provide the fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs to our participants and to expand the awareness of the farmers markets that are local here. And it really has done that. Our farmers are pleased, our participants are pleased, and everyone seems to be very happy with the program. So we continue to smile each time that we have the opportunity to add a Green Day to our schedule and are looking forward to the 2021 season where we'll again offer this opportunity to our participants. Thank you.
All right, Erin, I hope we stayed within our allotted time.
You know what? I wasn't even looking because I was listening to you because that was great. I just said I was listening to you. Did you mention the paper?
I did not.
Okay. As a additional resource, which will be shared again next week, Amanda was a contributor to a recently published paper for Farmers Market Coalition and the Nutrition Incentive Hub, outlining the WIC Perks program and the outcomes. For those of you here who don't know, I was previously with Countryside, and Countryside also has a WIC incentive program. So that program is also detailed in this white paper. So I'm going to share the link to that in the chat. And now I will turn it over to Allison, Farrell, and Wendy Anderson. Allison is a program coordinator as well at Produce Perks Midwest, and Wendy is with Wayne County WIC.
Thank you, Erin, for the introduction, and thank you all for the presentations. Those were great. I'm going to keep mine pretty short and sweet. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here. All right. So just a little bit of background about our partnership with Wayne County WIC, SNAP Ed, as well as the state WIC office. We work together to launch a texting campaign focused on Wayne County WIC recipients. So we created rack cards with local Produce Perks participating locations for Wayne County WIC office to give to their clients. They weren't seeing many clients in office due to COVID, but we were able to get the message out via a text message to those in Wayne County. We worked with the state WIC office to send out an initial opt-in message to WIC clients in the Wayne County area. And we worked with SNAP Ed to create unique healthy messaging to send about 8 weeks of text messages to those who opted in to receive more information about Produce Perks, the Produce Perks program. So some of the messaging that was provided by SNAP Ed, you can see here. So just letting people know about the Produce Perks program, directing them to our website to find locations near them, information about nutrition and how fruits and vegetables can help benefit their diets and their health. So we were very appreciative of SNAP Ed putting together the unique messaging to share with WIC recipients about the Produce Perks program. Throughout the life of the campaign, we had about 80 WIC clients opt in to receive text messages. We used trackable links in some of the text messaging, and about 10 to 14 people clicked on the links to find more information about the Produce Perks program, and as well as to find information about participating sites near them. We had only 5 clients opt out of the text messaging throughout the life of the text campaign. We do find that because clients are offered the option to opt in, it's very rare for clients to opt out of the text messaging because it's their choice to receive these text messages. So we've done a few other text campaigns as well, and it's always an extremely low opt-out rate, which is very significant, I think. Over the life of the campaign from March to April, we saw around $1,000 to $1,300 in an increase of Produce Perks distributed at fuelers, which is the locations nearest to Wayne County that offer Produce Perks. So we think that it's an extremely effective way to get the word out there about Produce Perks to WIC clients, to offer them additional resources in order to purchase fruits and vegetables and maintain the health of their family. We did send out a survey in the last text message, and we had 7 people reply. 4 of the clients said that that was the first time that they had used Produce Perks. 5 of them said that it did help to increase their fruit and vegetable consumption. 6 clients said that the text messages reminded them to use the Produce Perks program more frequently. And 4 of them said they shared information about Produce Perks with others. So I think this is a very effective way to get the word out there about the Produce Perks program to WIC clients. And I think that word of mouth is definitely a very effective way of learning, having clients learn about the additional resources available. We did have some feedback from people from the survey saying that they eat better now because it's taking less money off their card. They're able to access more fruits and vegetables. And someone thanked us for doing it and let us know that it was incredibly helpful. So now I'm going to pass it over to Wendy. We were able to build the text campaign through email. I think it was a very easy process for the both of us. I'll let her speak on that. And so Wendy, if you'd like to share about your experience helping to formulate this text campaign.
Yeah, can you hear me? Just making sure. Okay. I'm new at this whole Zoom thing, so I apologize. But the process was very easy. It was very exciting to finally get to work with Produce Perks because I had heard other WICs had partnered with you guys, and we were kind of disappointed that we couldn't do this for our participants. So it was great to just kind of do some quick Zoom emails and other little meetings to make sure that we were able to collaborate well and then give that information out to our participants. Working with Allison was great and super easy, and we had a lot of participants who were almost disappointed when we would start talking about Produce Perks and they didn't have SNAP benefits, so they weren't able to get that extra bonus. But we were still able to at least talk about that bonus and how important fruit and vegetable intake is, and so it was great to open up that door for that kind of conversation. So it was a great experience, especially on our part.
Thank you, Wendy, so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? We do have a couple good questions in the chat that we'll start with if nobody wants to pipe up immediately. Rachel Ward put a two-parter in the chat for Terri and or Jenna. The first part is, could you speak to the need for continuous outreach and regular mailers, given how the population that receives SNAP is constantly changing? The second part is, do you have any tips for those markets in Ohio and elsewhere who've had difficulty forming connections with their county SNAP administrators, JFS or otherwise, especially in terms of how to make the case for the offices sending out mailers or sharing data with the markets?
Erin, I'll speak a little bit more to the robocalls. So the state of Ohio, they implemented a new telephone system that clients call in to do their eligibility over the phone. So as part of that, they can do robocalls for us. And in addition to the robocalls, we also do text messages. So those go out simultaneously. So we actually sat down with Countryside and put together kind of a timeline of how we want to time some calls so that we're hitting them kind of at the beginning of the season. And then we plan to do another round of calls in the summer, like July, August, to hit them again as a reminder that the service is still out there. And when we did the actual mailings a year or two ago, I think we did those early in the spring and again in the summer too, to just kind of do a reminder. And we would pull down then the most current SNAP recipients and get those out to them at that time. I don't know if you want to add anything else, Erin or Jenna.
Jenna, do you want to add anything?
I'll jump in a little. So going off that second question too, and I think like the other piece, the flyer that we had pulled up that'll go out, I think initially is going to like a larger portion of SNAP recipients, but then they can drill down to send it in like the new SNAP packets. So you had asked about with the recipients constantly changing, it'll be a way to reach people who are new with their entry packet. And then as far as getting offices to work with you, that's really what we were hoping to do with today, is to kind of start getting the word out about the successes that we've had. You know, like some of the other partnerships were mentioning that WIC offices had heard about those partnerships and wanted to do something similar. So we're hoping that starting to get kind of some of these results and successes and plans of what has worked out there will help for other offices to want to do a similar partnership. And things like Erin and Amanda's paper can only help with that too, to give some people something kind of formal to look at.
100%. Amanda, do you by chance want to share about our recent call with Cuyahoga JFS based on, you know, the plans that were made in Summit County?
Yeah, so we've been working with the Cuyahoga County JFS office for years, and we'd done some promotional efforts with them. And then we were able to share what Summit County had planned for the year for robocalls and texting, and they said, sounds great, we'll do it too. So I didn't know I didn't know robocalls were an option prior to that call. And so sometimes connecting like across counties can help kind of brainstorm what options might exist within JFS's system that can be utilized that just might not be super obvious. So that was super helpful just to have that cross county connection and get a full sense of what the opportunities might be. And then once we, JFS heard that Summit County was doing it, they were great. We'll do it too. So it was easier than we thought it would have been. And I think just a tip for markets who might have had a hard time connecting with their local JFS office or other social service agency. Those partnerships take quite a while to develop. And so don't get discouraged if in your first year you don't get the partnership that you'd like. And it just takes time for those things to happen. And you really have to identify within that agency who your champion is. And you might go through a couple contacts before you find that champion. But when you do, all of those pieces will come together.
And if you're trying to connect with your JFS in another county, don't hesitate to tell them that Summit's involved with this and that they're welcome to contact me for more information. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I think that interagency communication between counties can really be leveraged and is a huge opportunity. When I was still at Countryside, Terri also introduced me to the JFS directors in Spark, Portage, and Medina. And that kind of opens a door in a different way to forming those relationships. Prior to our Countryside's relationship with Terri, there was probably a 10-year span where Countryside's market and food access managers were talking to JFS folks who were all very excited about the program, but we hadn't found that way to reach the broadest audience with that message and outreach. So I would reiterate what Amanda said, like, don't give up. The smallest efforts help, and they can help build to, that bigger effort that really gets the word out.
Erin, this just occurred to me. We have like quarterly Directors Association meetings in Columbus. Maybe we could get you guys on the agenda there. Probably at least 50 directors normally attend those.
Awesome.
That would get you in front of some of the counties that maybe don't even know about the produce perks.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Let's definitely connect on that.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Well, I think that's great. Having been intimately involved with all three of these partnerships, previously at Countryside, working with Amanda on the WIC incentive paper, so learning a lot of the nitty-gritties of that through that process. And I just started at Produce Perks Midwest when Allie was working on the testing program. I love the diversity of outreach related to all of those and how effective they all are. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity for crossover between the approaches and, harkening back to that first question that Rachel asked, that additional that first exposure for the folks coming into benefits, and then also that, a typical, anything requires multiple touches to really make that impression. So I think all the efforts are great and build towards greater awareness for the program. So if there are no other questions, and feel free to interrupt me if there are.
Erin, I would just add, an observation listening to both groups, actually all three groups. If you are going to have a conversation with an agency in your county, what was really impactful, Terri had mentioned, in our first round, they had funding that was available to help pay for that mailer. But after that, we were kind of talking about funding. And so using that existing infrastructure was a big deal because there wasn't any additional funding that was needed because they're already sending out those robocalls and texts. And with the mailers that they normally send their clients, to be able to slip that little, paper in there there's a little bit of cost there, but certainly not as much as a mailing of a card to a wide audience. So that was really crucial. And maybe that would be very helpful in your conversations and their decision-making to, even embark on the partnership. So, and again, to what Amanda was saying, that having the champions, like having Terri and her team has been an incredible asset and really the reason that we were able to do that. And as Jenna mentioned, the impacts have been enormous. So it's been great. Thank you, guys.
I think that that's a great point to reiterate, is that these don't need to be expensive, specifically grant funded approaches to be impactful. So our next and final session of the day is Filling the Market Bag, Farmer Needs and Incentive Impact. Rachel Tace of Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association will share data-driven descriptions of the needs farmers have for thriving local food systems and the ways incentive programming impacts local agriculture. I did put the link to register in the chat if you are interested in attending and have not registered yet. And if you have trouble registering or trouble accessing the session and you've already registered for it, please email Kristen. Her email is in the chat box as well. Just to share this again, we will, somebody's hand is up. I can't see whose it is though.
I think it's Chase.
Sorry, it was mine. It was just me. I'm done.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So this is the first time I've had people raise their hands in a Zoom. So if this is your last session of the day, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We do hope that what you've learned has given you some ideas and been inspiring to bring back to your own communities and partners. We're always here to connect with you further, to have these conversations more frequently and deeper. Yeah, so thank you again so much for being here. We will send out notes and slides with the recordings next week. Have a great day, everyone.